You felt it, didn't you? You felt the weight of what you carry inside. There's no need for words now, only silence. It's that moment when no one sees, no one knows, but the heart, that restless, agitated heart, cries out for relief. You've tried to hide it. You've tried to stifle it. You've tried to occupy your mind with other things, maybe even the right things, but it's still there. Still throbbing, still suffocating. You thought salvation should have taken away this turmoil. You thought that upon giving your life to Christ, everything would immediately calm down. But what now? Why do you still feel this way? Why does it feel like you're living between highs and lows, as if every step is an effort, as if something is still out of place? You're not alone. Many are exactly where you are, with their soul trapped in a place where the light of salvation has arrived, but hasn't fully penetrated. It's easy to raise your hands. It's easy to smile when everyone is watching. But when no one sees, when night falls and the room is silent, when the memory returns, when regret tightens its grip, when insecurity invades, where is the peace that was promised? The truth that hurts but sets you free, is that many have been touched but not transformed. They've been saved but not surrendered. They've been relieved but not healed. Because there's a place inside you that hasn't been surrendered yet. You know what it is. You know exactly what I'm saying. It's that emotion that no one understands, that reaction that seems uncontrollable, that decision made based on wounds, not on faith. Emotions. They dance easily, change with the wind, react to the touch of unspoken words, averted glances, prolonged absences. Emotions that sometimes exalt, sometimes fall silent. Emotions that sabotage, that accuse, that confuse. You thought it was weakness. That feeling too much was a sign of lacking faith. That's not it. The problem isn't in feeling. It's in allowing those feelings to govern, to decide, to guide. The soul, that soul you carry, it's been marked by experiences, by abandonment, by frustrated expectations, by broken promises. And now, even with God's presence, that soul still tries to command. But the Spirit wants to govern. It's not a battle between good and evil. It's a battle between what has already been redeemed and what still resists. It's a battle between total surrender and the insistence on control, between rest and tension, between the cross and the self. Have you ever wondered why you keep going back to the same point? Why you repeat patterns? Why you feel the same anguish, even after praying so much? It's because you're still trying to solve things with emotional tools, still trying to fix what is spiritual with what is human. But, listen, the Holy Spirit doesn't touch superficially. He doesn't visit for the sake of visiting. He comes to dwell. And when he enters, he changes everything, but only if he's invited to govern. He doesn't take by force. He waits for you to open up, to surrender, to say, I can't handle trying to control it anymore. As long as you maintain control, you'll continue to feel that oscillation, that coldness in your soul, that doubt, that instability. You want peace, but you don't want to die to what holds you back. You want healing, but you still nurture what hurts. You want liberation, but you still hide the chains. You need to nail that to the cross. It's not a symbolic expression. It's real. It's deep. It's painful. But it's necessary. The cross isn't a place of comfort. It's a place of death. Death of self-will. Death of the need to be seen. Death of the need for constant acceptance. Death of the memories that govern the present. Death of the fear of being vulnerable. You need to decide. Either you continue living guided by emotions, and then you'll continue to oscillate between peaks of euphoria and valleys of anguish, or you surrender to the Spirit and allow him to transform everything, even what you thought was impossible to be touched. You know what it's like to live emotionally. You've experienced it so many times. But do you know what it's like to live spiritually? It's not living without feeling. It's feeling differently. It's feeling with discernment. It's having peace in the midst of chaos. It's seeing beyond the moment. It's knowing how to wait without despairing. It's trusting even without understanding. Faith isn't just a pretty word. It's an anchor. And you need that anchor now. You need to stop being carried away by the waves. You need to stop reacting. You need to start hearing the voice of the Spirit above your own. But that requires surrender. And surrender hurts. It hurts because it means letting go. It hurts because it means trusting without guarantees. It hurts because you were taught to protect yourself, to maintain control, to not show weakness. But with God, it's different. With God, weakness is the path to strength. Surrender is the beginning of freedom. You can continue resisting, or you can give in now, at this very moment. His presence is here. Do you know why? Because He knows what you feel. He knows what no one knows. He saw what no one saw. He heard what you never said. He's here, waiting for you to let Him touch what you've never let anyone touch. That sadness that returns, that restlessness that grows, that feeling of emptiness, even surrounded by words of faith. He wants that. He wants everything. But you're going to have to stop hiding. Stop justifying. Stop trying to understand everything before obeying. You've been crying on the outside and on the inside. And now, at this moment, the Holy Spirit is calling you to a new level. No more a faith of appearance. No more a superficial peace. No more a momentary joy. He wants to give you roots, stability, clarity, truth. Are you willing? Because if you are, then prepare yourself. Because it won't just be a touch. It will be a transformation. And that transformation will shake everything. It will reorder your priorities. It will silence old voices. It will make you see with different eyes. It will take the weight off of what you weren't made to carry. You will be light. You will be whole. You will be free. But it starts now, here, in secret, without an audience, without applause, just you and God. It's not about emotion. It's about presence. And His presence changes everything. Do you feel it? Then, don't resist anymore. Let Him in. Write in the comments, Holy Spirit, restore my soul. If you believe He can renew all areas of your life, don't run away. You've been running for so long, running into responsibilities, into silence, into the answers you've learned to repeat, but that no longer touch the depths of your heart. Running after occupations, well-placed masks, well-architected control, and now everything crumbles inside. You can continue pretending that everything is okay. You can continue pushing the pain under a faith that is only discourse, but that has already lost its shine. You can try to manipulate your own feelings, rationalize your own soul. You can continue telling yourself that it's just a phase, that it will pass soon. But too much time has already passed. You weren't made to live a facade. You know that. You know that His presence doesn't combine with performance, that the Holy Spirit doesn't visit superficial places, that there's no true life where control of the soul still exists. That's why everything is so heavy, so repetitive, so colorless. You try to convince yourself that it's just the way it is, that no one feels differently, that maybe that fire from before was just excitement. But inside, something whispers, something cries out, something shouts for more. You want the peace that stays, not the one that escapes. You want the certainty that doesn't waver. You want to live with your soul in silence before God, no longer at war. You want, even without knowing how to say it, you want to dwell in God and not just visit. But you won't find that as long as you insist on guarding that corner of your heart where no one touches, that place where grudges are piled up, where the answers haven't been given, where disappointments still live, disguised as maturity. You may have even let God in, but you didn't allow Him to reign. You called the Holy Spirit, but only as a guest. You still keep the keys. You still choose what to show. You still try to appear whole when you're divided. The Holy Spirit doesn't just want to walk with you. He wants to possess your thoughts, possess your feelings, possess your impulses, your fears, your desires, your reactions. Because as long as it's your emotions that decide, you'll continue to be dragged by memories, by unresolved resentments, by expectations that were never surrendered, by wounds that you've already declared healed, but that still bleed. You need to make space. You need to let go of pride disguised as wisdom, of fear disguised as prudence, of bitterness camouflaged by beautiful words. You need to let go of explanations, of the right to understand everything, of the attachment to what you think should have happened. You need to let the cross touch exactly where it hurts, not where you accept it, not where it's easy, but where it hurts. The cross, the cross. You forgot that it's not just a symbol. It's the place where what is yours dies, so that what is his lives. It's where you lose everything to gain what you could never achieve alone. That emotion that controls you today needs to die on the cross. That attachment to security needs to die on the cross. That pride of being self-sufficient needs to die on the cross. Because there's no fullness without total surrender. There's no renewal where resistance still exists. There's no glory where there's competition between self-will and God's will. You need to stop running from the place of surrender. Because it's there, only there, that you'll find the rest you seek so much. It's there that the soul silences. It's there that the mind stops. It's there that the heart calms down. You've been walking restless, tense, distracted. You've been talking about faith, but with hidden fear. You've been seeking direction, but you refuse to be silent. The Holy Spirit won't shout louder than your thoughts. He won't compete for space with your desires. He waits for you to stop, for you to listen, for you to surrender. You've tried everything. You've read, you've listened, you've asked for advice, you've prayed with repeated words, you've been frustrated with God's timing, you've doubted, you've grown tired, you've thought about giving up. But the answer has never been in the strength of your search. The answer has always been in the intensity of your surrender. It's here that everything changes. It's not in the moment of ecstasy. It's not in the service with the right music. It's not when you feel something extraordinary. It's when you choose to surrender, when you decide not to go back to control anymore. You know you need this. You feel you need this. So why do you still hesitate? Because you're afraid. Afraid to let go, afraid to strip off your defenses, afraid to let God touch what you hide even from yourself. But the Holy Spirit doesn't come to expose. He comes to liberate. He comes to heal what no one has touched, to comfort where no one has reached, to restore where you thought it was impossible. You don't need to carry this anymore. You no longer need to feign stability while crying in silence. You no longer need to appear strong while emptying yourself inside. The Holy Spirit wants more than your strength. He wants more than your forced obedience. He wants more than your conditioned faith. He wants everything. Because only with everything can He make it new. You have nothing more to lose. Because what you've been protecting only keeps you trapped, and what you're trying to control already escapes through your fingers. You can continue being someone who lives on emotional experiences, or you can become someone full of the life of the Spirit. And that life isn't measured by feelings. That life is revealed in constancy, in the peace that no one explains, in the strength that no one understands, in the faith that remains when everything shakes. You've already known the touch. Now it's time to know the possession. You've already experienced the presence. Now it's time to live surrendered to it. And that will change everything. You will feel, yes, but differently. You will feel what it is to be guided and not dragged. You will feel what it is to discern and not react. You will feel what it is to have control surrendered and not confusion masked as sensitivity. And when the Holy Spirit has complete access, even what you thought was weakness will become strength. Even what hurt will become a testimony. Even what you wanted to hide will be light. But you need to allow it, now, not tomorrow, not after understanding, not after feeling ready, now. You know that what you're hearing isn't just a word. It's a summons. It's a call. The Spirit is here. He's waiting. He's touching deep. You feel it. This is the moment. There are no human promises. There are no formulas. There are no shortcuts. There's a cross. There's renunciation. There's death of the self. And then there's life. Life that pulsates without depending on circumstances. Life that springs up in the desert. Life that remains when everything fails. You were called to this, not to survive emotionally, not to balance between faith and chaos. You were called to live full of the life of the Spirit, full of the peace that surpasses, full of the light that dispels all shadows. But it starts with a single word, yes. A yes without reservations. A yes from someone who no longer wants to fight against their own heart. A yes from someone who no longer needs to feign strength. A yes from someone who is ready to die and live again. Are you ready? Then stop running. Stop fighting against what the Spirit is doing now. Take a deep breath, silence everything, and say, yes. Because when you say yes, the heavens open. When you say yes, the presence invades. When you say yes, the soul bows, the mind yields, and the heart finds rest. And it doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter how long you've carried this. It doesn't matter who saw or who didn't see. Now, everything can change. If you say yes, the Spirit is here, waiting. Write in the comment, Holy Spirit never fails. If you have already felt His hand guiding your life, you are facing something that cannot be touched with hands, cannot be understood with logic, cannot be forced with will. It's not about wanting a lot. It's not about understanding everything. It's not about doing to deserve it. It is deeper. It is more mysterious. It is more holy. It is the place where everything in you silences, where the mind bows, where the body stops, where the Spirit cries out with groans that have no form. You know you are in that place now, because there is something burning even without visible fire. There is something pulsating even without sound. And what is that? It is the presence of the Holy Spirit. It is the touch without touch. It is the voice without sound. It is the peace that shouts. It is the love that disassembles you, that disassembles each layer built by fear, by guilt, by survival. You are not here by chance. You were attracted. You were pulled. Even without knowing, you were brought here. Until this moment. This is not just an instant. It is a divider. Because there are things you've carried for too long. There are pains you've labeled as phases. There are scars you've tried to disguise with spirituality. But no rehearsed prayer has been able to cleanse what's hidden where only the Holy Spirit can reach. And now, He wants to touch there. Not where you show. Not where you already know how to speak. But where it hurts. Where you've never had the courage to face. You want to be free. I know. But freedom isn't about getting rid of what weighs you down. It's about being transformed in the midst of what weighs you down. And there you are, trying to hold on to what you should have already released, trying to understand what was never meant to be understood, trying to maintain control when the call is precisely to let go. You'll never know the depth of God while living in the safety of what you already know. You have to jump. You have to launch yourself. You have to die to control. Because only when you lose everything do you realize you don't need anything besides His presence. Are you still trying to prove something? Are you trying to show that you're strong, that you've already overcome, that you're firm? But God doesn't want your performance. He doesn't want your armor. He doesn't want your well-formulated words. He wants your truth. He wants what you try to hide with memorized prayers, with catchy phrases, with superficial faith. He's calling you to a deeper place. A place where you'll need to strip yourself bare, to be silent, to surrender. There is no other way. You want transformation, but you fear the process. You want change, but you fear the impact. You want freedom, but you still negotiate with the shackles. His presence isn't a visit, it's an indwelling. And for Him to dwell, everything in you needs to be dislodged. The old guilts, the piled-up traumas, the image you've built, the reputation you protect, the story you repeat. None of that can remain where the Holy Spirit enters to reign. That's why you feel this confrontation now, because the presence doesn't just comfort, it confronts, it stirs, it breaks, it uproots. You're trying to keep everything in place, but God is messing things up. And this mess is the beginning of restoration. This restlessness you feel isn't confusion. It's the Spirit uprooting what binds you, cutting old roots, deconstructing castles you've built on top of untreated pains. You asked for more, but you thought the more would come without loss, without discomfort, without pain. And now you're here, in the middle of the process, in the middle of the silence, in the middle of the place where there's only one way out. Surrender everything, not part, everything. Because the Holy Spirit doesn't accept half. He doesn't accept being fit into the intervals of the day. He doesn't accept leftovers. He doesn't accept spaces divided with what you secretly idolize. You know what you haven't surrendered yet. You feel what hasn't died yet. And maybe you're there, trying to convince yourself that you'll be able to balance it, that you'll be able to maintain control and still live full of the Spirit. But you won't. Because fullness only comes after death. The death of the ego, the death of the image, the death of the narrative you created to survive. You don't need to survive anymore. You need to live. And living, for real, only happens when you stop fighting with God. You've been resisting, you've been rationalizing, you've been seeking shortcuts. But the Spirit doesn't work in shortcuts. He only acts in surrender. It's no use saying you want to. You need to let go. You need to stop asking for answers and start obeying even in the dark. You need to stop waiting to feel something and start saying yes, even with fear. Are you still there? Still trying to understand? Still looking for signs? But the Spirit is already there. He's already acting. He's already pushing you out of what's shallow. You feel it. You feel that tightness in your chest, that urge to cry without knowing why, that tension between continuing to pretend or simply surrendering. You feel it because His presence doesn't need to be explained. It's felt. It's absorbed. It invades. And in this moment, it's doing what no word could. It's breaking, and you need to let it break. Let fall what you built with fear. Let dismantle what you erected with pain. Let crumble what binds you, even if it looks beautiful on the outside, because on the ground, in the dust, in the place where everything in you seems to collapse, it's there that the glory begins. There, when there's no more strength, when there's no more resistance, when there's nothing left, the Holy Spirit manifests as everything. He never asked for your strength. He asked for your surrender. You tried to surrender with control. You tried to surrender while keeping the reserves. You tried to obey, but only up to a certain point. And now the Spirit is saying, all or nothing, because that's the gospel. It's not a walk in between, it's death and resurrection. You want to live? Then die now. Die to vanity. Die to self-pity. Die to the victim narrative. Die to the need to be understood. Die to the desire to be recognized. And see what the Holy Spirit will do with the ashes. You'll rise differently. You'll see differently. You'll hear differently. You'll feel differently. And everything around you may remain the same. But inside, everything will be new. Because the soul that surrenders lives. The soul that empties itself receives. The soul that delivers is filled. You're facing what changes destiny, what can't be explained with theology, nor measured with arguments. It's the Holy Spirit calling you. Will you continue to resist, or will you surrender once and for all? The time for halfway is over. Now, it's all or nothing. Choose. Write in the comments, God is my refuge. If you believe that in Him is your protection and security. And if you don't choose now, time will pass anyway. The days will go on. The tasks will continue. The forced smiles will still be there. But inside something will die slowly. Because you can't hear the Spirit call and remain the same. You can't feel His touch and pretend nothing happened. You can't be on the edge of this abyss of surrender and return to routine as if nothing was screaming for transformation. You're not at the limit by chance. You're there because the end of the line of your own strength has arrived, of emotional intelligence, of trying to control everything while saying you trust. You've reached the point where you either truly trust or continue to fall into yourself. And you know that truly trusting will require more than emotion. It will require more than a moment. It will require a choice, and you need to choose. While trying to keep one foot in faith and the other in fear, the cracks open, and the soul gets tired, the mind gets tired, the body feels it. Sleep disappears, anxiety grows, and the silence turns into muffled despair. You want to hear again. You want to breathe without weight again. You want to smile without pretending again. You want to live again. Then stop negotiating with what God has already asked you to release. Stop thinking you can manage what the Spirit wants to uproot. Stop masking the pain. Stop covering the hole with catchy phrases. You don't need to look strong. You just need to be true. And God only acts where there is truth. You haven't lost the presence. No, it's still there. But it's pressing. It's provoking. It's touching where you said no one else could touch. And if it hurts, it's because it's too alive. Too alive, that part that reacts so much, that gets offended, that fears abandonment, that needs answers for everything, that looks for signs when it should trust, That talks about faith, but lives by control. It's too alive. That's why it hurts when God touches. But you need to let it die. Because what lives too much inside you is preventing the spirit from living in fullness. You don't need more words. You need a decision. You can continue rationalizing. You can continue saying you're processing, that you need time. But time doesn't heal what only the cross can kill. And there is no healing without death. You can continue masking your soul with spirituality, with activities, with read phrases. But God doesn't answer masks. God answers surrender. You're being called to something that can't be simulated, that can't be fabricated, that can't be copied. What the Holy Spirit is offering now is real presence, real transformation, real liberation, but it doesn't come without real surrender. You can continue saying you're waiting for God's time, but what if God's time is now? What if this pain is the last chance to break what you so insisted on keeping standing? Will you ignore it? Will you resist? Will you continue asking for help to get out of a place where you refuse to give up control? You need to humble yourself, not with beautiful words, but with silence, with tears, with surrender, with the confession, I can't do it alone. Because only those who recognize that they can't see His power act. You've carried this tired soul for too long. You've fought with shadows, with memories, with phrases that still echo, with expectations that were never fulfilled. And all of this has shaped you, made you believe that you always need to be strong, always right, always in control. But now, the Spirit is breaking this structure. He's taking you to the dust, and in the dust, you'll understand what dependence is. You'll understand what rest is. You'll understand what it is to have no more strength, but still walk. Because it won't be you anymore. It will be Him. You feel it. It's so present that you can hardly breathe. It's so real that no explanation serves. It's so strong that the silence seems to scream louder than words. It's the Holy Spirit calling you to die, not physically, but to die to everything you created to protect yourself from Him. He wants everything, and that everything includes what you try to hide the most, includes the fear of not being enough, includes the trauma that never had a name, includes the shame that still throbs, includes the doubt that you feel and don't admit, includes that part that thinks it doesn't deserve it. Everything. Because God doesn't transform what you keep hidden. He only transforms what you deliver. And that delivery isn't with the hands. It's with the torn heart, without filters, without performance, without speech. You've lived between extremes. You either exalt yourself too much or you hide too much. You either explode in emotion or you close yourself as if you feel nothing. This is a sign that something needs to be aligned, not with more effort, but with surrender. Because when the Spirit governs, everything changes. The look changes. The reactions change. The way you deal with silence changes. What offended you no longer affects you. What destabilized you no longer has strength. That's freedom. That's life in the Spirit. That's true transformation. And it's not magic. It's a process. But it starts with a single decision. The decision not to run anymore. You don't need to run from God anymore, nor hide in Him, trying to avoid Him. You just need to say yes, even with fear, even without understanding, even without knowing what comes next. Yes. And when that yes sprouts, He enters. And when He enters, He breaks everything that kept you chained. He cleans everything that kept you heavy. He silences everything that kept you at war. And then you breathe differently. You no longer need to survive emotionally. You can live spiritually. You can walk with firmness, even in the midst of pain. You can remain in peace, even when everything around you is in ruins. Because the Holy Spirit isn't a visit, it's an indwelling. And when He dwells, everything in you is rebuilt. But that will only happen if you let go, if you bow down, if you stop trying to understand and simply trust. The Spirit is here. He's waiting for you, not with demands, not with haste, but with love so deep that disarms any resistance. You feel it. So, say yes, and let Him do the rest. Write in the comments, I trust in God, if you believe that He is in control of all things. And when you say that yes, the sky will not open with noises, nor strong lights. Maybe not even tears will come, Because it's not about what you feel. It's about what happens in the invisible. It is in silence that the miracle begins. Not that miracle that is seen with the eyes, but that which only the Spirit can operate, the miracle of surrender. Surrender does not change the world around you immediately, but it changes what is inside you. And when that happens, everything that exists outside loses the dominion it once had. You will look at the same situations and realize that something in you has quieted down. That need to react, that urgency for answers, that anxiety disguised as faith. Everything begins to quiet down, because when the Spirit governs, even pain has purpose, even emptiness has direction, even silence has an answer. You will realize that, little by little, control escapes from your hands, and that will no longer scare you. It will be freedom. You will see that you may not have all the answers and still live in peace. You may not understand everything that happened and still trust, because the Holy Spirit will lead you, and His guidance is firm, even when it is gentle. You will stop asking yourself, why hasn't it happened yet? Why was that taken away? Why does it still hurt? Because the Spirit will put a new kind of trust in you, a kind of trust that doesn't require understanding. You will no longer need to feel to know. You will know. You will know that He is there. You will know that you have not been left. You will know that you are not lost. This certainty is a gift, and this gift comes when you decide to stop running. You didn't get here by chance. Nor did this pain come without purpose. Nor is this emptiness a punishment. All of this is fertile ground. All of this is ground where the Spirit wants to sprout something new. And the new will not come with noise. It will come with depth. It will come with conviction. It will come with discernment. You will discern what comes from the soul and what comes from the Spirit. You will discern what is impulse and what is direction. You will discern what needs to remain and what needs to die. But all of this, after the yes, not a yes of words, a yes of delivery. And yes, the Holy Spirit will confront you. He will mess with everything. He will uproot what seemed essential. He will silence voices that you have listened to for a lifetime. And He will put you before the truth, not the truth of others, the truth that sets you free, the truth about who God is and about who you are in Him. You are not what you feel. You are not what you have lived. You are not what they said. You are what the Holy Spirit has already seen in you. And even knowing everything, He still called you. He still wants you. And now you have a choice. You can continue as you are, or you can launch yourself without reservations. And launching yourself hurts, because it requires leaving behind what seemed so right. But what seemed right was what kept you trapped. So, are you ready to live a freedom that does not depend on circumstances? Are you ready to trust even without signs? Are you ready to silence your soul so that the Spirit can speak? Then die to everything that still tries to control you. Die to the desire to prove something. Die to the fear of losing. Die to the need to please. Die to the pride of always being right. And when all of that dies, you will feel something you may have never felt before. Lightness. A lightness that doesn't come from having everything figured out, but from having surrendered to what is eternal. The lightness of someone who no longer needs to fight against God. The lightness of someone who is in the right hands. The lightness of someone who has been touched, not just in emotion, but in essence. And the Spirit will dwell there, will reorganize everything from within. You won't have to strive to be different. You will simply be. Be guided, be sustained, be filled, and you will never be the same. Not even the pains will have the same flavor, nor will the silences seem threatening, nor will the uncertainties cause despair. Because where the Spirit is, there is peace. And that peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of God. And that is what is being offered now. Not a solution, not a quick answer, not a visible promise, but the presence that sustains, the presence that heals, the presence that transforms. Do you want that? Then say, yes. And don't stop at that yes. Say yes tomorrow, when fear tries to return. Say yes when the pain rises up. Say yes when doubt whispers again. Say yes every day, because that yes opens the heavens, that yes tears veils, that yes attracts the Spirit, and when the Spirit comes, Everything that is old falls apart. Everything that is His is born. Everything that is holy remains. You feel it? It's happening now. So just remain. In the yes, in the brokenness, in the surrender. Because this is the place where hearts are rebuilt. This is the place where fears die. This is the place where you no longer need to pretend. This is the place where the Holy Spirit reigns. And where He reigns, you live, truly live, and will never be the same. Write in the comments, God never fails, if you have experienced His faithfulness in your life. Share this blessed video so that it can touch and help other people like you and me. Want to delve even deeper into faith and prayer? Download our exclusive ebook on how to strengthen your spirituality today. The link is in the comments below. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for being part of our faith community. If you want to support our channel a little more, consider becoming a member of our channel. I leave here 2 more videos so that you can continue your spiritual search and growth in faith. Thank you, and God bless everyone. See you later.